Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by the two guitarists of the band Ignite, Nicholas Hill and Kevin Kilkenny. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up! What's going on, caffeinated crew? Today, I'm joined by Nik and Kev from the band Ignite. Such an awesome Sunday to have them on the podcast. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
Yeah, doing good, man. Excited to be here.
This is really awesome. You guys just released an album 2 days ago, Ignite. It's your fourth studio full length and first album in like 8 years, right? 6 years?
Yeah, that's pretty quick turnaround for us. That's right. I think it is.
But we'll talk a little bit more about that. I really appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out on a Sunday morning. Let's start off with the coffee because I will not be able to do this interview without coffee.
Yeah, same here.
What are you guys currently drinking?
Kev, go for it.
Shit. Well, I'm probably drinking the same things Nik is drinking because Nik helps me out with his coffee stash a little bit.
I got the hookup.
Normally I'm a sucker for whatever's on sale at the grocery store, but Nik hooks me up with some of his, hometown brew. So I'll let him tell you what it is.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing Kevin's going with a little Heart of Darkness, which is I grew up in Santa Cruz, California, up in NorCal up there, and what can I say, man? Like they got my heart when it comes to coffee. There's a place called the Santa Cruz Coffee Roasting Company, and goddamn if it ain't the best cup of coffee you can make at home, I think. So that's what I got rolling. It sounds like Kevin's got it too. I'm everybody's dealer when it comes to that stuff.
You're the coffee plug.
I'll ship in a couple kilos, this week if I can.
I'm getting a little low. Yeah.
I got you, Kev.
So Heart of Darkness, is that like just a house blend that they have?
Yeah, it's an Arabica, I believe is what it is. And good roast, kind of a, dark roast there. Mm-hmm. Big flavor, big bite. No need to mess with it. Just put it through, the pour over or the drip, whatever you want. It's all good.
Are you guys pour over guys? Nik, how do you make yours?
I invested heavily in myself about 2 years ago, and I bought a pretty insane machine. It's called the Technivorm Mocha Master. It's a Dutch coffee maker. And in our house, we like Dutch, so I went and bought like a fucking $500 coffee maker. Back when there wasn't anything else to do but sit at home for about a year and a half there, if you remember. And
Kev, how do you make yours?
I do like the pour overs, but I just do the French press mostly. I just find it like super simple, basic, and I can't run out of filters like I normally do, and have to use paper towels or toilet paper or something. So so yeah, pretty much just the French press.
I know guys got that cowboy coffee.
Yeah, right. You got to scrape the crust off the top, and
it's
if you have a method, it's great. That's what I was using before. I also COVID was the coffee wake up in my life as well. Nice. I got a V60 for the first time, and from there it was like just complete rabbit hole. Sinking tons of money that I don't have into this hobby.
Well, if Ignite ever really, really hits it big, we'll have to invest in like a Clover or one of those like $10,000 ones, right? Or those,
the Mocha Master's like pretty high up.
Hey man, I was gonna say it was that or like a car payment that month. You know what I mean? It was that kind of investment. So
it's like that's like half of your rent. Well, I guess in California, maybe a quarter of your rent.
But. Oh yeah. I was gonna say I don't shit, man. I don't know where you're living. I'm moving up there.
Well, I am drinking a coffee from Hale Coffee. It's a Toronto-based roaster. It is their natural Guatemalan Blue Ayarza. It's really good. It's a few different varietals, but awesome tasting plum, boysenberry, great natural Guatemalan flavors.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
That's great. Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Cheers to that. Are you like a piping hot cup of coffee guy, or are you like I like it a little cool almost? Like
I let it mellow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say you are the real deal then, because I can't drink it when it's piping hot because it's gonna blast your palate and you don't get any of the fun.
I'm one of these where it's like a sip of coffee and then a sip of water, like to make sure
European style.
Easy. Yeah. Easy. You're pretty much in Europe up there in Montreal.
Yeah. Always get a cup of water with your coffee there, right?
We're a heavy French city. I unfortunately am not fluent in French, but I'm learning slowly.
Kevin can help you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're a French speaker?
No, my girlfriend is, and she's been trying to get me to speak French for years, but it's a fucking tough language to learn.
It's not easy.
Huh?
Yeah. Nick knows more than me, probably. Just know a few swear words.
I know how to be offensive.
Are they the French swear words or the Quebec swear words?
Oh, they're the Quebec ones.
The Quebec ones, yeah.
Oh yeah, see that.
Tabernacle.
Yeah, tabernacle.
Careful, bro.
Shouldn't say that too loud. She might be hearing it.
Totally.
Other than, black drip coffee, do you guys have like a guilty pleasure coffee drink when y'all are out getting some coffee out on the road or anything like that?
I don't. I definitely don't. I'm like just black, plain all the time. Maybe just a little bit of milk, if my stomach's hurting a little bit or if I like had too much already. But no, I'm just no sugar, nothing like no flavors, nothing like that.
I'll occasionally indulge. Like if it's not me making my own coffee, I think the only thing I trust in the world is like an espresso or actually in Europe, or if you go to like East Europe, they make Turkish coffee, which is like you've had. It's really, really sweet. It's got like a shit ton of sugar in it. They make it's like almost like a slurry. And I like that. That's diabetes in a glass, but I'll take it. I'll indulge in a very sweet, thick little Turkish coffee.
That's the Turkish coffee is crazy. I've only had it one time. There's like a Turkish restaurant here in town that does it. Yeah. And it wasn't quite the best quality coffee. Yeah. So it kind of literally left a bad taste in my mouth. But I do want to go if I ever make it over to, Turkey or that region where it's basically that kind of Middle Eastern region where they do a lot of the sand Turkish coffee where they cook it in the sand.
Yeah.
That process just looks really interesting to me. So I would love to be able to go. And
if you go anywhere in Europe, because there's a lot of Turkish immigrants around, like in general, and they have their foods and that's usually where, I've never been to Turkey personally, but anyway, that's always something I look out for if we're going to go get like doner kebab or something. They might have like a nice little Turkish coffee, kick me in the butt, get me going.
I had never heard of doner until I moved here, and it's not even big in Montreal. It's big in like Nova Scotia or even Toronto. Like we're kind of sandwiched between the doner kebab. Yeah. Is that big out in the West Coast?
It's not so much here. It's just that's the go-to in like Europe, like in Germany. Kevin can tell you like the late night when you're stumbling out of a bar or whatever it may be. Yeah. That's like the taco truck out here, or like whatever it might be, whatever your late night. Something to save you from yourself, basically.
The European birria.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's good.
You mentioned the Santa Cruz roasting. Is there a local shop that you guys frequent? I don't know if you guys live semi close to each other, if y'all like meet up for coffee, or even if it's just each one of y'all's local shop. Give it a shout out.
Yeah, Kev, what do you got? What's good for you up there?
Yeah, well, Lord Windsor here in in Long Beach was like a nice little pour over spot. They had there. That's about it. I don't. Me and Nick don't live real close to each other, so we don't really meet up that often. But that was like the local spot here that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, we got one down here called Coffee Importers. I'm in Dana Point, which is like South Orange County. Mm-hmm. Kevin's up in LA County. We're in different counties, but yeah, down here, Coffee Importers is a good one for sure. It's right up by the harbor, right by my house. Good variety. They do their own beans. It's they're cool. Shout out to them.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys make it down to San Diego super frequently, but have you guys been able to get any of James' coffee?
No, I've heard of it though. That's funny. Yeah, no, I'll have to check them out. Recommend?
Well, I haven't been able to try it, but I've gotten tons of like mentions about it. The owner plays in, oh my God, I'm totally blanking on. He's a member of the hardcore community and like a legendary California hardcore band. And I cannot remember which band it is.
How dare you?
I can't remember. It's not H2O, but he's friends with those guys.
That's cool. Yeah, we'll check them out.
Rusty was the one who mentioned it to me first, I think.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll look into it.
Yeah.
Well, let's move into some of the music. You guys, like I said, just released Ignite, fourth studio album for a fourth full length. The singles coming out. I know you guys started releasing singles November of 2021, with Eli as the new frontman. Amazing singles. Really, really, really keeps to that sound. The energy is what really, like, when I think about Ignite, it's always, the soaring, clean vocals with so much energy, and all the videos really, I mean, it was full band the entire time doing the videos and all that, which is amazing. Cause it's just, it all translates really well. But releasing music now in 2022, as opposed to, even 2016 and before, what are some of the things now that have changed compared to doing it, like even printing CDs and you go to a record shop? Or
let's see. Well, shit, now
I think there are some differences. Yeah. I mean, I think it's funny now. I was just talking to somebody about this. It's understood that you're going to get music through a streaming source. It's sort of that's just accepted now. So the only difference is based on your genre of music or your fan base. There's potential to have people that are interested in a physical copy. And in the world of hardcore and punk rock, we, as fans of that music, we like to collect things. We like to collect vinyl. People get as into their vinyl as like we do with our coffee. You know what I mean? It's a thing that's like, so there is, it's already sort of built in. Like there's a collector, there's a curatorship of vinyl. And so that's really, I think it's sort of come full circle now, where 8 years ago, it was almost like, this free fall of like, well, will there ever be any physical copies of music bought ever again?
Right.
And everyone's, the sky's falling, all this shit. And now it's almost like, okay, now we've sort of found our place in the world of selling physical copies. And it's like, what you got to do is you've got to put together a great looking LP, have something maybe that you don't get with the streaming thing, like Kevin, we have a bonus track for the vinyl, and we got different, there's something there that sort of appreciates the collector. You know what I mean? And I, again, in our genre music, that's what it's all about. I mean, like I got my vinyl right behind me here too. Like I'll go buy something because I like the band and I want to own a piece of it,
Yeah. Yeah. Well said, Nick. Yeah. I think that's a big difference about today versus before the pandemic. Yeah. Like you said, there was like a thought of maybe there wasn't going to be any releases as far as outside of the streaming, at some point. But now I feel like vinyl is definitely making a comeback for that. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, people come to the show and like literally will just be like, I want to just get a record. And then, like they'll go to their car, put it in the car, and then, all right, now I can like enjoy what I'm doing. And I'm guilty of it. I do the same thing, Yeah.
Yeah. Thursday I went to see Touche Amore on their tour with Vane and Scowl, which SoCal hardcore punk, female fronted, super, super great band. I had to pick up a vinyl. My vinyl player is broken. I had to, it was old and I had to get rid of it, but I'm still collecting vinyl because it's like,
totally. Yeah.
It's cool to have. You can put it on the wall. It looks cool. I'm going to get a record player again. So nobody like send me weird comments, or somebody send me a record player. That would be cool.
Yeah. That'd be a good comment. Here's something you can use.
Yeah. But I mean, like you said, you put a lot of care. I mean, especially in the hardcore community and heavy music community as a whole, a lot of those records just sound better on vinyl. And they also look cool. And a lot of care is put into limited pressings. You get different colors. It's like, depending on when you bought it, when it first came out, or if you get like a re-release, it's like you said, it's like an art form now. It's a collectible. And I do love being a part of this community that puts a lot of respect on still supporting the bands that they love, supporting underground and independent music by buying records and then streaming. You know, like
totally.
Bandcamp
Dude,
is
that's the other
sick.
thing. Yeah.
Bandcamp's great because you go on there. You don't necessarily listen to all your music on Bandcamp. I mean, some people do, but you don't, not necessarily everybody does that. So you can go on, buy the album for $10, $15, and then stream on Spotify. I mean, that's what a lot of people are doing now. And I think that's really, really awesome.
I find that, the streaming services are a great tool for discovering music. You know what I mean? And then once you get it in your head, then you go the route of supporting, go see these bands live, go buy their merch, go buy their vinyl, like that's the direct pipeline to like supporting something that gets you excited or gives you something, you know what I mean? It's cool. And I think for Ignite too, we're all like music fans. We really are. I think some of us, and I'm guilty of this, my tastes are a little outdated sometimes. I just listen to the same shit I always did, but I fucking love it. I still love it. And I still love seeing live music. And I still, I like to be a part of it too. So I'm always down to get educated too. You probably know more new bands than I do, or I'll ever know, especially I'm sure Kevin and I are in the same boat there. So it's like, I'm always down to hear something good that's new.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar in that way. Yeah, I do enjoy discovering stuff on the streaming services. You're right, because in the past it was, you went to the record store and, checked out what was new, but it's so easy for us now to find new stuff.
And in that way, I do like streaming. Spotify, I find their algorithm can be a bit like picky and choosy, which I don't love that. But going to Bandcamp, if you look up tags, you can literally put in hashtags. It will give you a list of like, if you want to look up hardcore and power violence, then it will show you a list of bands that have that. Or if you want to look up hardcore and bands from like Ohio, it'll show you all of the bands that tag Ohio. Okay. Yeah, it's really cool. So
I've never seen that. So I'll just check that.
I was wanting to find some bands, some like new hardcore bands, and even just like bands that scream in Montreal. So I looked up like hardcore Montreal, and it showed me a list of bands that have released. And it's like you can filter it from newest to oldest, and it's really, really cool. You can look up, if it's black metal, which, I mean, there's a lot of those here. But it is a great tool. I think Bandcamp has been really great in helping the independent underground community. But Spotify is still, for a lot of kids, that's what they use. And TikTok. Yeah. TikTok has become an insane tool for finding out about music, and especially hardcore.
Weird. I mean, dude, you're probably talking to like the last two guys on Earth who don't have TikTok.
I don't have TikTok on my phone.
Okay, I was gonna say,
it's like my wife is like my TikTok
Kevin
filter.
Doesn't have any of this stuff, and I've heard of it. I've heard of TikTok setting. That's crazy. That's cool though. But again, it's like I'm not like old curmudgeonly guy. Like I like that these things are out here, and I think the key is that it's a tool, right? Mm-hmm. This doesn't replace music. It doesn't replace live music. It doesn't replace buying records. It doesn't replace, the real thing is always going to be the real thing. So to me, it's not, I like it. I'm not like frightened by it or turned off by it. I mean, I don't know as much as I should about it, I guess, but I think it's fucking awesome. I love that there's all these different ways to access this music, this world, and like, just get hyped, get each other pumped up, teach us old fuckers some new shit, and us old guys we'll break open our old backlog and show you some shit you maybe never heard either too. So it's good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I do love finding out about new music. I feel behind. Like I'm.
Yeah, me too.
I played a show last night, and I'm the youngest member of my band. I'm 29, and it was our like first show. And the other bands are all like 19, 20. I feel like the old grandpa. I'm like, oh, I remember learning how to play drums in 1998. It's like, you weren't even alive then.
But I feel more and more like that every day.
Right. Yeah. And it's like the next day you feel like terrible. But I love even finding out about older bands, because it's cool when you get into hardcore, you learn about kind of the legacy. So, you get in finding a band, say like Regulate or Jesus Piece or one of the bigger, this is hardcore kind of headlining bands. But then you find these other bands that inspired them, like, I mean, Ignite, H2O, and then even before you go to like the DC punk scene, like, Bad Brains, Minor Threat, but you have such a legacy where you're able to kind of go back. And I find a lot of even kids nowadays, they know so much about hardcore, like starting today and working back. And I'm like, I need to catch up with y'all, but my brain is not going to be able to retain all of this.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. I think it's less about like, you have to know everything. And, there's always going to be a little bit of that snobbery in any music, especially when it's like a niche genre. Hardcore is pretty small. There's that sort of mentality sometimes of like, oh, you don't know about the old shit, or like, oh, you don't know about this very obscure thing. It's like, who cares? Are you having fun? Do you listen to music and really enjoy it? You'll get there eventually. If you need to find out about old DC hardcore, you'll find it on your own. You don't need somebody to make you feel shitty about not knowing about it. Or to me, it's like that's a shitty approach. Whereas you could be like, oh, if you like that, that's funny. It reminds me of this, and then be like, maybe turn somebody on to something that's like the origin. That split off to whatever they're listening to now. So I think it's connecting that and being in a band that's, I guess you call it a legacy band. That's hilarious. But I
don't mean it in like a bunch of old guys.
No. But I mean, I joined Ignite when I was a teenager, and that was like in the late 90s. I'm like listening to this. So it was a band before both Kevin and I joined, and Kevin can tell you, his whole history with them too. But yeah, I always thought they were like old school when I joined, and then that's like fucking 22 years ago now. So yeah, it's cool. Like to me to see like it spans time in a weird way. It's linear, but it's also sort of not, because it all just exists in your experience. Like if you like it, you listen to it. It doesn't feel like it's an older band. Or vice versa. If something's new, I heard new bands and I'm like, wait, where are they from? Like, this is not a new band. They sound fucking old school. I love it. It's all about your experience and the sort of spin you put on it in your own world, I guess. To answer the question that was never asked. Yeah.
Yes. The point that was brought up in a ramble. I've just been listening to like One Step Closer. They're from Pennsylvania. And they're getting kind of big. And then a band called Anxious. And I'm listening to them. I'm like, this is Have Heart, which Have Heart is basically H2O and Ignite with a little more breakdowns. And it's just crazy to see, like you were saying, like how one thing influences another. You pull from, time. It's kind of just cyclical. So now we're in another hype of melodic hardcore, which I'm not mad about it. I love melodic hardcore. So it's just cool to see kind of how, like one thing leads to another, and it kind of evolves, but it's still basically the same attitude, which is awesome.
Right. Yeah. And Ignite came from, bands before them, like No for an Answer and Uniform Choice and Unity. So it goes on and on. You can follow it back as far as you want to go.
As far as an electric guitar has been strummed through an amplifier.
Yeah. Well, we had dead ends at like the Kinks or something or whatever, probably, but it's crazy. No, it's true. Yeah. Kevin brought up a good point there. Like we as in Ignite was probably considered super derivative of like those bands, like Unity, Uniform Choice. And then, each generation sort of forgets that. And then now it's like, oh, no. Ignite started that sound. It's like the soaring vocals and the guitars. Listen to a Uniform Choice record. Listen to a Unity record. It's like, that's Ignite. Like, and like literally there's members of Ignite, that started Ignite that are in those bands. So it's cool. Right. It's cool to be kind of like, associated with that stuff. And going forward too, especially with like a new record. I mean, like all you can hope for is that some small piece of this is like enjoyed or maybe inspires somebody to do their own thing. So it's cool. It's cool to be folded in there somewhere.
Yes. I'm super excited about the new record. I'm going to have to listen to it all the way through. But the singles, like I said, they are amazing. Like really, really great. Classic Ignite sound. With Eli's vocals, it's really cool because the themes are a little bit different. They come from kind of a different like background, but it's still, that Ignite sound, that attitude, that energy. So really stoked about it. Stoked about you guys tour, Punk and Drublick. You guys are going to be going through Europe. So
everybody make sure y'all have a few US shows as well. I know y'all are playing that Underground Arts Festival with Strife. I think next month.
Yeah, in May actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all our US run is going to be going through from May 5th to I think the 18th or something like that, and then we end up out there with Strife and Earth Crisis and Snapcase, man. What the fuck?
Snapcase, man.
Dude, yeah,
crazy.
There's a definite 15-year-old in me that is like so stoked to fucking see Snapcase again.
And that's one of those bands that somebody just mentioned them to me. They're like, if you like that, you should check out Snapcase. If you like Vane, you should check out Snapcase.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that's fucking Vane. Like, so super happy that they're going to be playing that. And Strife and Earth Crisis, come on.
Right.
So yeah,
legends there.
What's that?
Yeah,
the legends and fucking Earth Crisis and Strife.
Is it called Legends Fest? It's Snapcase.
What's up, legends?
Yeah.
Cool.
I might have to do a road trip for that one because
dude, fuck yeah, come on down.
It's not far for you, right? Not
8 hours.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah,
8 hours, I think. If you drive fast, maybe 7.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, hopefully we'll have to check it out. Touring through Europe. I know that this is what number year of Punk in Drublic?
Oh, I don't know actually. Yeah, I know it's a few years running,
mm-hmm.
and they do some US dates and then do some Europe dates too. And actually this year they're doing Scandinavia and stuff. So that's we're excited to be doing that. I mean, these are bands that we've had some history with playing with before, but it's always exciting, especially just to be in that genre too. Because that's the weird thing about Ignite is that we kind of can interlope the hardcore world, we're playing with Madball,
right.
We're playing with Snapcase and Earth Crisis, and then next week we're playing with Pennywise and NoFX. And it's somehow whatever. It's cool. It's a weird no man's land, but it's actually a pretty awesome one to be in. So I think we're lucky in that regard that we're able to do it.
Well, I hope that you guys have a great time. It looks like it's going to be super fun, but yeah, man, safe travels on that one for sure. I would love to know y'all's favorite tour memory.
Kevin, tell them your favorite tour memory.
Yeah, my favorite tour memory. So, God, I guess one of my first tours with Ignite was with SNFU in Europe, and we did 6 weeks with them. It was crazy, long tour. And I just being on the road with them and getting to know Chai and was really special to me. And man, I feel like I learned a lot in those early years from them and being on the road and traveling and seeing Europe in general, being new to that as well. But I gotta say, those guys were just so good to me and treated me like family. And I was this little kid not knowing what was going on, but they kind of looked after me and stuff. And that was one of my best experiences on the road ever. So I gotta say SNFU, just hanging out with them and being close to them and getting to know them. And I don't really know them anymore, but it was a special time in my life. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
It's a good one, Kevin. I like that.
Chai and I were sitting at lunch. This was before we had cell phones, so we were sitting at lunch one day and we decided to draw each other's portraits and then we exchanged them. So Chai drew this fucked up picture of me. We're on tour for 6 weeks. We're all fucking hungry and fucking tired and wore out. And he drew this picture of me with these tired squiggly eyes and these fucking lightning bolts coming out of my head and stuff and these music marks. And I just he's just such a kind person, kind soul. I miss him,
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Oh shit, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think, for me, it's funny. So initially, my the biggest impact I think tour wise that I have experienced was the first tour I did with Ignite, where they were supporting the Misfits my fucking all-time favorite band. I'm 17 years old. It's a dream come true. That, blew my mind. And we were on, I think it was like a 17 or 20 something date tour, giant long tour. And then there was another band on the tour. It was a band called Reach the Sky out of Boston. This is like the year 2000. So my dream comes true. I'm on tour. I get to meet Jerry Only, Doyle, and those dudes were fucking awesome, by the way. Really rad. Blew my mind every night. I get to like see these guys. But it was becoming friends with Reach the Sky that was like the best part. And by the end of the tour, we were on our way back to the West Coast, and the Misfits tour is over, and it's just us and Reach the Sky. And we go from playing these giant, like 2,000 cap rooms to playing like a 100 to 200 cap room that's maybe halfway full in like London, Ontario, and like crazy places. And there was a show, and this is my choice memory here. We played a show. There's like a local opening act, and us and Reach the Sky, or Reach the Sky and us, whatever. And we were just having such a fucking blast together. And both bands were playing. And then at some point, I don't know who decided, they're like, let's just get both bands on the stage at the same time together and just fuck around and play each other's songs. And like, I think nobody in the crowd was having a good time, but we were having a blast. It was like just goofing around and like seeing each other's shit and kind of making fun of each other on the spot. And it's, we met these dudes like 3 weeks earlier and became like so fucking tight by the end of it. And it was cool for me to see like, it's not all about the glory and like the biggest show possible. It's about that kind of like kinship. Mm-hmm. And we became, lifelong friends with those guys, and, did some music together with Chris Chassis, who was in the band at the time, and Stu, rest in peace. Met them, Ian and Bob from Bane. And it's like, these guys were fucking awesome dudes. And that was what it was. Kevin was there.
I was there. Yeah. I was selling t-shirts at the time.
Kevin was doing merch. It was my first tour. I was 17. It was fucking awesome though. So anyway, there's mine.
I remember standing on the side of the stage, Nick, watching that happen. You guys were jumping up there, like trading instruments.
Kevin's older brother was on that tour too. Kevin's older brother, Mike, aka Muggsy, was there. And I think he got up and he was the front man at some point. So it was a total shit show. And I think he was like trying to sing some Guns N' Roses or something. So anyway, that's what it's all about. That's the hardcore love right there. West Coast meets East Coast, baby.
Yeah, it's all family. That's it. And I think
that's what it really is. I know it's cheesy, but it really is. It really is.
It gets said, I think, like at least once a hardcore show, and it's like, it's family, but it's true. It's a community. It's like a brotherhood. You kind of get the bite. And you have to go all in, or I don't know. It's there's something about it that I haven't heard a lot of people be able to describe, aside from it being like a family. You just kind of.
Well, that's why you see these bands that are like Madball and Agnostic Front and Sick of It All that are like still doing it. It's because this is our world. This is our family, and it's it's a strange thing, and it's like I think it's definitely. It's not like it hasn't been said before, but it bears repeating, man. It is. It's a family.
Well, Kev, Nick, this has been such an awesome time. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out, being so open and sharing memories with me. I have one last question before we go.
Shoot.
What is y'all's favorite city for beans and breakdowns?
Kevin, you want to go?
All right, I'll go. I got to say Milwaukee is special to me in that way. Just out of high school, I worked in a cafe there called Fuel Cafe. And it's like this punk rock motorcycle cafe. And it was kind of the center of the punk rock scene in that neighborhood. And I lived there and I worked there and I played in bands there. So to me, it was like working in the cafe during the day. And then at night we would walk down to the bar in the corner or the basement around the corner, go see a punk show. Man, to me, that's like coffee and hardcore to me is that neighborhood in Milwaukee. That's for sure.
Fuck yeah.
What you got, Nick?
Yeah. Well, this one's easy. I gotta go Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz, born and raised, just getting completely wrecked on fucking coffee at the tender age of like 14. This is why I never broke 6 feet. You know, I blame my upbringing for that. But no, yeah, it's funny. It's a similar story. I didn't work at the coffee roasting company, but we would go get jacked up on coffee, you know, the opening that world, and then go see like Good Riddance or Redemption 87, all these local bands that were from like the Bay Area up there. Go hang out at Cafe Pergolesi right down the street, you know, and then it was literally like bouncing from show to show, getting coffee on the way, you know, and it was just like, it just blew my mind. Like, this is a possibility. I can just do this. This is like what people do. So that, yeah, Santa Cruz, definitely best beans, some pretty fucking good breakdowns, some pretty good fucking circle pits too. This was definitely like West Coast, late 90s. There was a lot of that shit going on. We weren't doing
that thrash punk influence.
Yeah, it wasn't as much kung fu going on, but it was a lot of fucking circle pits and shit. So
no wonder moshing was so big. That's why moshing became such a thing. It's just go to a show and then on the way to the other show, you're like dumping espresso.
For sure. Oh yeah. It was uncontrollable and it was a lot of fun. And I mean, you know, yeah, we all three know we've all three done it. So yeah, it's cool. So shout out to Santa Cruz for sure.
Awesome. Well, guys, you know, again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I wish you guys all the best on the upcoming tours in May and through the summer. I know you guys have dates booked all the way out to November, and everybody make sure check out the new album, Ignite by Ignite. You can stream it everywhere, but make sure to check that out. And guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Grayson. This was fun, man.
Yeah, likewise. Take care.
Bye.
You too.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Nik and Kev for coming on the podcast, sharing a cup of coffee, and sharing everything that's going on with Ignite. Be sure to check out their newest full length. They have some awesome videos that you can watch as well. And be sure to check them out on tour. They've got a few dates coming up in the US, as well as the Punk and Drublic tour going on all over Europe. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can also find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.